happening in a fire that claimed the lives of multiple pets. And the City of Jamestown Council has unanimously agreed to hire 8 additional firefighters through a federal grant. Plus, a local engine manufacturer hit a large milestone. We have more on this celebration.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Bronson Rasmussen. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, a Monday afternoon fire in the city of Jamestown that claimed the lives of multiple pets has been ruled accidental. At around 12:19 p.m. Monday, crews were dispatched to 511 Clinton Street for a reported structure fire. Upon arrival, first responders encountered heavy smoke and fire from the back exterior of the house. Now the fire spread from a back porch area into the second floor and ultimately the attic. All 7 residents of the homes were able to evacuate with no injuries, alongside a cat and rabbit. However, 3 pets did not make it out. Crews were able to get the blaze under control in around 45 minutes and fully extinguished in close to 2 hours. After investigation, crews were able to determine the initial fire started outdoors on the first floor side porch. The blaze has been ruled accidental in nature. And now, while there was heavy fire and water damage to the home, we are told that the property is still structurally sound. And as for the displaced family, multiple services are coming out to help them get back to normal.
So American Red Cross will come and they'll help them with some temporary housing and clothing and those sorts of emergency type things that they'll need. And then they'll help them try to get access to new housing, someplace to move into, whether it's temporary or longer term. And then we'll continue to work with them and the property owner.
In addition, another structure fire occurred on 20 Newland Avenue in Jamestown at around 5:25 p.m. yesterday. Crews were able to calm the entire blaze within an hour. Investigators are still trying to determine the initial spark for that fire. Well, the Jamestown City Council has unanimously approved the hiring of 8 new firefighters for the Pearl City, partially funded by a federal grant. In mid-February, the City of Jamestown received a $1.8 million 3-year Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response, or SAFER grant, to hire the 8 firefighters. Of deliberation over the impacts of the new hires would create. The resolution did not come without stipulations, however. Presented by Councilwoman Marie Karuba, the agreement would satisfy the firefighter union, not constituting a new minimum staffing requirement. They also agreed to not hold the city accountable if the new hires were not kept on the payroll once the funding expires. The council does, however, need to put in effort to finding funding opportunities. Ultimately, funding this will cost the city hundreds of thousands of dollars, but council agreed that the price tag is worth it for a safer Jamestown.
If we can make this work, we'll certainly do our best. We'll certainly continue to look for funding and hope that that doesn't happen in 3 years, but we have to be mindful of where we are at in our city.
I think everybody is aware of the need from a public safety standpoint. If this will help us get to where we're trying to get to, then I'm all for it.
Now the next step is to hire the new firefighters and take them through the training process. Now, according to Jamestown Fire Chief Matthew Kuhn, that process should be done before Thanksgiving of 2023. While we're learning more about the elderly Warren couple kidnapped at gunpoint by the fugitive in Jamestown, New York domestic homicide. Now state police say he forced a Sheffield couple to travel with him in their car to South Carolina. Now, according to the criminal complaint, it appears that the Jamestown murder suspect, Michael Burham, may have been hiding out around David and Jessica Anderson's property on Route 6 in Sheffield until he met them face-to-face and at gunpoint, took their car, and forced them to travel with him to South Carolina. Lisa Adams of Erie News Now talked to state police in Warren about how they all piece this together.
What began as a missing persons report for an elderly couple in Sheffield Saturday night turned out to be something far more terrifying.
Our victim couple from Sheffield was abducted after being threatened with a handgun. They were forced to drive him in their vehicle, a 2022 Honda CR-V, to the area of North Charleston, South Carolina.
When David Annenson, 89, and his wife Jessica, 68, failed to show up at their grandchild's soccer game Saturday, family members became concerned. They came here to their home and business to check things out, and things were just not normal. They were missing. Only later would they find out they had been kidnapped at gunpoint by a man wanted for rape, arson, and murder. Then early Sunday, the couple surfaced in North Charleston, South Carolina, a nearly 12-and-a-half-hour car ride and some 787 miles from home. Fugitive Michael Burham had dropped the Annensons in a cemetery, drove away in their silver Honda CR-V, then ditched it about a mile away.
I can't even begin to understand how traumatic and tragic this incident is for not only the victims but for their family.
Neighbors just learning about the kidnapping were stunned that something so frightening took place so close by.
I'm going to start crying because, like you said, 2 doors away from me. I mean, I think it's just devastating that here in Sheffield that something like this would happen.
State police say the couple is okay and they got through it as best they could. Burham now faces dozens more charges from Pennsylvania State Police, including felony kidnapping counts, burglary, and terroristic threats of bodily harm. And he's still at large.
Continuing coverage, we hear from Jamestown Police Department on what is being done to apprehend Burham.
We're working closely with the FBI and South Carolina authorities at this time. We're in constant contact with them several times a day whenever something new comes about. We're speaking to them constantly and we're exchanging information.
Police believe that Burham could be fleeing south to Kansas, Oklahoma, or Texas, where he has known connections. Now, Burham is considered armed and dangerous. Now, any information can be reported anonymously to the Jamestown Police Department tip line at 716-483-8477 or by visiting CrimeStoppersWNY.org. A $2,500 reward has been offered for any information leading to his arrest. Now, this is a developing story, and we will have more as it becomes available. Be sure to follow us on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for any and all updates. Well, switching gears a little bit, we'll get our check with our first defense weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Andrew Stevenson, and it's pretty boring for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been pretty boring these past few weeks. And another boring weather day, we start off with a live look from the Randolph Peaches and Cream Sky camera. We got mostly sunny skies out there, but those aren't really clouds in the sky. The skies look a bit milky again because we have more wildfire smoke over the region drifting down from Alberta, Canada. So let's take a look at first defense Doppler radar. Once again, it's pretty quiet across the region. No clouds to report on radar, no rain to report of, just milky skies from that wildfire smoke. The almanac for today, we made it to a high of 69 degrees yesterday at the Jamestown Airport. Our low for today was 44, and our records for today, 88 is the record high set back in 1925, record low of 25 set back in 1934. So here is your first defense weather forecast for the rest of the afternoon out there. Partly to mostly sunny skies for the rest of the afternoon out there. We can't rule out a stray isolated shower across the inland southern tier. Otherwise, most of the area is going to stay dry, and it will be warmer today than it was the past few days. You should make it to the low 70s near the immediate Lake Erie shoreline to the mid to upper 70s inland. Now have a look at that full forecast, including a preview of the weekend coming up.
All right, Andrew, we'll see you then. As WNY News Now continues, we look at the New York State Capitol, where a bill to combat drunk driving is being considered. And later, we look at gun control measures being considered in Pennsylvania. Stay with us, as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Macker mites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
You know, hunting
Caitlin
on
Armstrong
private land has been quite the experience.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Some New York State lawmakers are pushing for legislation that would require ignition interlock devices for certain drunk driving offenses. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein talks to lawmakers about the impact that this bill could have on drunk driving deaths and updates us on the bill's progress.
On October 28, 2018, Erica Lynn woke up excited to celebrate her 50th birthday. By the end of the day, both of her parents died in a drunk driving collision.
And I walked in and I saw the surgeon standing there talking to my sister, covered in my mother's blood.
Lynn then learned that her mother had died.
And I let out a guttural scream that I never knew existed in me, and I collapsed to the floor.
Lynn says she traveled to Albany today to push for legislation that intends to reduce drunk driving deaths. A bill recently passed in the Senate installed in an Assembly committee intends to reduce drunk driving deaths by requiring people in violation of while intoxicated or DWI offenses to have an ignition interlock monitor installed. An ignition interlock device essentially requires a driver to breathe into a monitor device that detects their blood alcohol concentration. The interlock device will not allow the car to start at a level of 0.025%. The legal alcohol limit in New York is 0.08%.
And this device can save lives.
Some members of a DWI, driving while intoxicated, and a DWAI, driving while ability impaired crime, pays for the device themselves. The cost is about $3 a day over a period of 6 months. She says the Transportation Committee, where the bill is currently stalled, has some concerns of affordability. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Writer E. Jean Carroll wants the court to hold Donald Trump liable for what he said about her during a recent CNN town hall. Now, Carroll has asked the judge to amend her initial defamation case against the former president. In that initial civil case, the jury found Trump liable for battery and defamation and ordered him to pay about $5 million in damages. She's now seeking additional damages for alleged defamatory statements Trump made during a town hall on May 10th. Carroll's attorneys claim his statements go directly to the issue of the damages. Trump's lawyers are appealing Carroll's initial lawsuit, which an appeals court sent back to the lower court judge. The judge will determine whether or not it moves forward. While House lawmakers in Harrisburg spent most of the afternoon and even part of the evening debating several gun safety measures. Now, the House was in session till about 5:30 p.m. yesterday evening, debating the bills. Only 2 of the 4 bills in the package passed, however. House Bill 714, which would create universal background checks, and House Bill 1018, which would establish a red flag law or extreme risk protection orders, were both approved. A bill would require the reporting of a lost or stolen firearm within 3 days, failed, and the fourth House Bill 731, a safe storage requirement bill, was not considered. Advocates say that the bills will save lives, but those opposed say that they do not address the root cause.
People who actually store their firearms properly can prevent things like this from happening and prevent somebody from going in and picking up a gun and then taking it somewhere.
How do we address the mental health issue versus looking at the weapon? Let's look at the symptom and what these people are struggling with.
Now House Bill 714 and 1018 now head to the Republican-controlled Senate for consideration. On average, nearly 20 victims per minute are a victim of domestic abuse, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. But one group, Safe Journey, is working to put a stop to it in Erie, PA. This week, they kicked off a campaign showing that anyone can be a victim. Tom Kowalski reports.
Each year, more than 10 million women and men are victims of domestic abuse, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Today, the Domestic Abuse Recovery Service, Safe Journey, gathered to kick off their Unmasking Domestic Violence campaign, showing that anyone can be a victim.
They will see that somebody within their community that they're experiencing and be like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm a victim of domestic violence. Maybe I can have the courage to reach out and to just talk to somebody. So we're hoping that it will get their attention so that maybe they'll make that phone call, maybe they'll make that connection so they no longer have to live in that silence.
The campaign kicked off at the Mill Creek Mall, where abuse survivor and author Gail Black says she's honored to help victims escape their abusers and thrive.
Somebody said you should write the book. I said no, it's too hard to disclose all the things that happened to me in my life. Very, very difficult. But if it helps one person, I will do it. It has led me to help many people, I hope. We're not alone. There are many of us.
Black says many former victims who have read her book have even stopped by her shop along Route 5 to thank her.
They come to my shop. They come in the door. They want to tell their story. They've read my book. They want to know what happened to me, and they find that they are not alone. I don't know why me. I don't know. I just do what my master planner tells me I should do.
Coming up, we look at the nation's capital and how negotiations are going for U.S. debt. And later, we take a tour of Cummins engine plant in Jamestown and their 2.5 millionth engine block made. But first, we return with a look at our full weather forecast.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Mackermites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights.
Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
To help you.
to save you.
despite the danger. This danger is real.
Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under mostly sunny skies at the Jamestown Airport. We are 69 degrees as of the noon hour with a south wind of 6 miles per hour. Well, we had some rain this past Saturday. We'll get a little bit more rain tomorrow, but we've been pretty much lacking on rain these past few weeks, and it doesn't look like we're going to make up much rain going towards the end of May and the beginning of June, as the NOAA 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook favors below average in terms of precipitation as we close out the month and be going into June. So it looks like we're going to not get a lot of rain, and we're going to need some rain because it's been pretty dry, but it doesn't look like we'll get much rain because high pressure is over the region right now, and it's pretty much providing dry weather across the Great Lakes going all the way back to Ohio and Michigan. Up behind the banner is a low pressure system and a cold front. That cold front is going to be moving through the area later or during the day tomorrow, bring a couple showers, but not much rain expected. So let's time it out on future scan through the rest of the afternoon out there. Generally partly to mostly sunny skies. Like yesterday, future scan shows that maybe we'll get a pop-up isolated shower across the inland southern tier, but if it does, it'll be quick and most of the area will stay mainly dry. Heading tonight, once again, partly to mainly clear skies. Tonight, future scan again trying to pop up an isolated shower, but most of the area going to be dry. We have better chances for some showers tomorrow as a cold front drops to the region, probably around lunchtime, but it'll be a quick moving cold front because by the evening we'll be dry once again, and high pressure will build back in Wednesday night into Thursday, and we're going to be dry through the rest of the week. Thursday heading in Friday, although behind that cold front it will be cooler on Thursday. You'll see that in the 7-day forecast in just a minute. But first, we got some racing tonight at State Line Speedway. Yes, they're doing some Tuesday night racing. Usually it happens on Saturday, but tonight's it's happening on Tuesday. Should be a perfect night for racing out there. Partly sunny skies. Temperatures start off around 70 at 6 p.m. when the race starts, and then dropping down to the 60s by the end of the lower 60s by the end of the race. And now the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Behind that cold front tomorrow, temperatures on Thursday drop down into the upper 50s, but at least we'll have mostly sunny skies. We rebound back to the mid 60s for Friday, and then we'll stay dry throughout the holiday weekend. Temperatures back in the 70s with very little to any rain in the forecast through the holiday weekend.
Alrighty, Andrew, looks good to me. We'll get you some headlines from around the nation. We are about 10 days away before the June 1st deadline to reach an agreement on the debt ceiling. If no agreement is made, it could mean an economic global fallout. The debt ceiling, also known as the debt limit, is the total amount of money that the U.S. government is allowed to borrow and meet its existing legal obligations, like Social Security, Medicare benefits, military salaries, interest on national debt, tax refunds, and other payments. The debt limit does not authorize new spending commitments. It just allows the government to pay for their existing obligations the Congress and the President have made in the past. The U.S. Treasury Department says that failing to increase the debt limit will have catastrophic economic consequences, leading to a default, which has never happened in the U.S. history. Before the president took office, a G7 meeting in Japan last week, he said he felt confident the U.S. would not default, and before the speaker and the president meet, the speaker says that their goal is to reduce the amount of spending.
Look, I haven't seen the president today. We'll sit down and we'll talk about that. But the underlying issue here is the Democrats, since they took the majority, has been addicted to spending, and that's going to stop. We're going to spend less than we spent last year.
Now, the president had cut his overseas diplomatic trip short so that he can return to Washington and finalize this agreement. While 3 Southwest states announced that they have struck a historic deal to cut billions of gallons of Colorado River water usage over the next 4 years. California, Arizona, and Nevada agreed to cut at least 3 million acre-feet of water through 2026, about half of which would be completed by next year, an effort to stave off a crisis at the nation's largest reservoirs. Now the deal marks a major step after months of these negotiations to save a crashing Colorado River system, which provides water to more than 40 million people in the West. Now Shelley Malchiali has the latest.
A historic deal has been reached to save a crashing Colorado River system that provides water to more than 40 million people. California, Arizona, and Nevada agree to cut around 10% of their state's Colorado River allocation, which is equal to 3 million acre-feet of water. An acre-foot covers 1 acre of land 1 foot deep. The water cuts would be split up among farmers, tribes, and cities who are working with the federal government on short-term payments in exchange for water savings.
It is so exciting to have the power of both the states and the federal government working together on these very, very big goals.
Most of the cuts would be compensated with at least $1 billion in federal funds from the Inflation Reduction Act, which the Energy Secretary and Colorado Senator John Hickenlooper spoke about at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory.
But if we're going to be successful in this effort to move forward and push our way up and deal with these problems, which we are, and I've never been more optimistic in my life than I am right now.
The deal marks a major step after months of tense negotiations as officials scrambled to reach an agreement to boost water levels at reservoirs where levels are approaching dead pool levels. The deal allows the federal government to make additional cuts if water levels fall further, but that is less likely after a heavy snow season. I'm Shelley Malashi reporting.
TikTok is suing the state of Montana over a bill that would ban the social media app within the state. Under the law, Montana would fine TikTok $10,000 per day if it makes the app available to personal devices in the state, starting in January of 2024. Now, the law stems from growing concern about TikTok's ties to China through its parent company and the potential for the Chinese government to access U.S. data. Now, TikTok says that fear is unfounded, and its complaint filed in Montana District Court argues the law is unconstitutional. Even if the law stands, legal and technology experts question whether or not Montana would actually be able to enforce it. Well, coming up next, a local engine plant is celebrating a big milestone in manufacturing. Our Alyssa Wright has more.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Three-on-three basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Macker mites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
A local diesel engine plant is celebrating a few major milestones and accomplishments made in the past 50 years. Now our Alyssa Wright joins us live in the studio today with more on this celebration. Alyssa?
Bronson, Cummins Engines has produced their 2.5 millionth engine at their Jamestown facility, a big accomplishment, and JEP plant manager Anna Dibble explains that she's looking forward to the future of the plant.
This is just such an exciting time for the plant. It really celebrates the past, a lot of the accomplishments that the plant has been successful in achieving. It celebrates the presence of 2.5 million engines and what that actually means, and it also celebrates the future.
The plant has also received $425 million investment upgrades to better production and the overall quality of the plant.
This is a great plant, and it's really what makes Jamestown Engine Plant very special is the employees that we have to work here. They are the most flexible workforce that we have across the network, and they just really deliver each day. And so there is no better plant to invest this type of money in for our future than the Jamestown Engine Plant. My message to the community would be that this is a great place to continue to grow and develop and invest for the future.
Dibble explains that the future holds some uncertainties, but Cummins is ready for the challenge.
We think there's going to be some messiness in the middle, but certainly understanding that there's a pathway forward and that we have products that will meet any customer's challenges when they are ready is really exciting for us.
In the end, JEP is optimistic about the road ahead and is seemingly overjoyed about this 2.5 million engine celebration.
These last few years have certainly been difficult for many manufacturers, but the future is bright in Western New York, and Cummins would like to lead the way and help partner and show the way on how we can invest unprecedented amounts and be successful.
As the plant continues to grow, so does their ability to produce more advanced engines, such as the hydrogen-powered engine, and hopes to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much, but unfortunately that's all the time we have for today. We'll leave you this live look outside our studio. We'll see you next time.